When your home needs help, you might not know where to start. Why not ask ACE? We're always here to help with ACE Handyman Services. Our talented craftsmen handle everything from drywall and carpentry to doors and kitchens. We're the neighbors you trust to get the job done right. Let's get started. Book your handyman appointment today. ACE Handyman Services, bringing helpful to your home.
ACE is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
Hey, welcome friends, welcome elite entrepreneurs and empire builders to the next episode of Fran Opps Live. I am your CEO and host, Jared, and I'm so excited for today. This is a good one, man. If you're looking for a brand with big name recognition, you might not find a bigger name in this space. We'll dive into all that, but before we do, a couple really big things for you all. Number one, in a couple weeks, me and my wife, our team, we're going to be at the Business Alliance Incorporated annual conference. And so in 2 weeks, we will not be having a Fran Opps Live. I know you're going to be missing it dearly. Do not worry. Trust me that this, in 2 weeks from now, while we're at conference, we're going to be bringing you a whole lot of insider looks, inside scoops, insights with different brands, different franchisors. I'm even going to introduce you to some high quality consultants as well. Just connecting you. That's my promise to you inside this group, is to connect you, to network you with movers and shakers in this space. And so I'm excited for that week. It's going to be fun. Going to spend some time in the sun, out on the golf course, but also I'm going to be doing some speaking engagements. I'm going to be on stage leading a couple things, and excited to do that very thing. Going to bring you the best of the best inside this group. Secondly, this summer is going to be the biggest summer yet inside this Facebook group. It's going to be massive, man. We haven't really unpacked what we're doing yet from start to finish, from Memorial Day to Labor Day, but what we're going to be bringing inside this group is going to be game changing. It's going to be huge, and it is going to help you franchise your future with confidence and clarity. That's what we're all about here. So stay tuned. Be on the lookout for more information on this summer. It's going to be a good one. But today, we are diving into this brand is the home improvement, repair, and renovation franchise arm of the Helpful Hardware folks. I cannot wait to kind of unpack this a little bit with you. If you're looking for that brand name, that brand recognition, look no further. They've been recognized as J.D. Power's highest in customer satisfaction for 16 years. 4.85 star out of 5 stars across the internet. Over 5,000 plus stores around the world, and they've continued to grow rapidly in 2020 with franchising. They in 2020 had 123 units. In 21 they had 225 units. In 22 305. And in 2023, 367, and they're just continuing to grow year after year. And so you're looking at it at a really good time. If your space, if your territory is still available, that's the question. So if you're looking and wanting to get that conversation going, click on the link in the chat and we'll begin right now. But they've been recognized all over the place, from Franchise Dictionary top 100 game changers to Entrepreneur's top 500 list. They were number 176 of the top 500, which is over 8,000 options worldwide. So be labeled that high is crazy. Franchise Direct had them as a top 100 global award winner. Franchise Times, they were a top 400 brand, and many, many, many more. This is a unique opportunity for many reasons, because one, obviously we've talked about the power of the name, but also you're going to get protected territories. They work with only highly skilled professional laborers. They have a unique customer loyalty program. They've been around for nearly 2 decades. And today we have the pleasure and the honor of bringing on the co-founder and VP of development, Colette Bell. She has been in franchising for over 25 years as a founder, as a business mentor, as a franchise advisor, and now she's continuing to work development for this incredible brand. So I cannot wait to dive into this conversation. It's going to be a good one. So make sure you got your coffee, make sure you got your lunch, whatever it is, but buckle in. It's going to be a good one. Let's start with ACE Hardware. Let's go.
At ACE Handyman Services, whenever we get ready for the next job, we remember what to bring. We bring experience. We're local craftsmen that handle everything from repairs and seasonal maintenance to installations and upgrades. And the job isn't completed until you're satisfied. And we bring helpful to your home so you can spend more of your time on the projects that really matter. ACE Handyman Services.
ACE is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
Wonderful. Colette, welcome to the greatest Facebook group in the metaverse. I'm so glad
I'm honored to be here. Yeah.
Yeah, good. This is going to be a good one. I cannot wait to dive into this brand, ACE Handyman Services. But before we do, I really love to begin with just your story, because this is kind of your baby, isn't it?
It is. Yeah. Really crazy story. This is one of those American dreams. So way back in 1998, my husband, who was a refugee from the restaurant industry, like a lot of people are refugees from corporate, right? Yep. He'd been doing restaurants for a long time. We were getting ready to start a family, and we just knew that wasn't going to be a good mix of time. So he actually started our own handyman business way back in 1998 in Denver, out of the basement of our house. And really just at that point, just trying to pay the bills, right? Had a baby on the way, just trying to pay the bills. But fast forwarded, the business grew really quickly, and we picked up some technology early on. Happened to ride the wave of Microsoft Office. So we created an Access database and some of those things, moved it into SQL eventually. And found ourselves 3 years later with a really good franchise concept that we ran in Denver and in California. We tried some corporate locations.
Interesting. Okay.
Sure.
California is not usually like the first place people begin to franchise. So
it's the hardest place I can think of to have a business. But it was an easy airline flight from Denver. And of course, at that point, we had a 1 and a 3-year-old. So we needed to make life easy. And we wanted to try a difficult employee-based business state, because our business was all about hiring craftsmen. It worked there. So we ended up franchising in 2001 under the brand name of Handyman Matters. Just grew slowly because we admitted to everybody we really didn't have any idea what we were doing. But super passionate.
I love the transparency. That's hard to find in franchising.
Yeah, super passionate about the business, which is really focusing on small handyman projects, not big remodels. We didn't want to get into licenses and permits and things like that. But we just kept finding markets where if people had homes, they needed things done. And if we could match them up with our craftsmen who were W-2 employees that we did background checks and carried the insurance on, the business seemed to work really well. So we grew it from 2001, and then fast forward to 2018, get a phone call completely out of the blue from Ace Hardware. Guy's name is Bill. He's the CFO and vice president of operations. And he said, hey, we've been watching you, because we had Handyman Matters in Chicago. And he said, we really want to get into the service industry. Do you want to have a conversation? And my husband said, I'll fly to Chicago on Monday.
That's crazy. Ace just straight up called you. That's nuts.
Yeah, didn't have the business up for sale. Of course, we're still here.
Yeah. And how long ago was that? How long were you in business until Ace called?
So we had been franchising at that point for 17 years. So, we had about 115 territories at the point that they called. So not huge, but, we were in 28 states and had grown it, ourselves. We didn't have a lot of money, but just kind of grew it with slow time and people who believed in the business. And so we started the conversation with Ace in 2018, went through a year and a half of a lot of due diligence, of course. Ended up at the end of 2019, they offered to buy the business from us.
Awesome.
But the agreement was that we could stay. Because my husband's not done. This is all we've ever done our entire lives. We wanted our corporate staff to stay in the business and stay involved. And Ace agreed to all that. And true to their word, here we are. I can't believe it's been 6 years. Here we are. They kept everything the way that we wanted to. So my husband's still the CEO. I'm leading up the development department. We've got all our original employees plus about twice that now since we've grown so much. And the growth has been astronomical, like you mentioned. So.
Insane. And I only really saw up to like 2023. Can you give us an update on kind of where Ace is now, heading, almost the middle of 2025?
Yeah, so we are just a few short of 400, which was, a
Wow.
really big watermark for us to go
Yeah,
from
that's
really,
insane.
123 when they bought us to almost 400 today.
That's like and that's just like within the last 5 years.
Yeah.
Really. I mean, that's to think back to started in a basement
Yeah.
to now being
It's crazy.
owned by a global business name and 400 plus units like across the entire country. That's crazy.
Yeah.
It's really insane.
It's been a blessing. And we had a couple of we always tell people it's better to be lucky than to be good.
Mm.
But we had a couple of fortunate events. One was the pandemic.
Okay.
The pandemic was really good to home service franchise
Yep.
concept
Yep.
because we've never been the sexy concepts, right?
Mhm.
We're
Right.
not romantic concepts.
Right.
We're just not. We're the roll up your
Right.
sleeves and get to work kind of.
Yep. It's blue collar. Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And so when the romantic concepts like the food and the beverage and the health and the wellness and all those kind of took a deep breath during the pandemic, we really had an opportunity to grow, not just us, but really home services in general.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So that was really fortunate. It was also fortunate because we had just finished the transition with ACE Hardware,
Mm-hmm.
but then the pandemic took over their stores, which, as you mentioned, 5,000 stores across the United States, and
Yep.
they're retail, right? So
Yeah,
we're talking plexiglass, 6-foot spacing,
that's tough.
older employee base. You know what I mean? It was really all hands on deck to help the retailers, which
Right.
means they kind of forgot about us, which was great. Because, they really didn't look up until 2023 and go, wait a minute, didn't we buy a handyman business? What's going on?
For real, that's funny.
Yeah. And at that point, we're like, no, we're good. Everything's
Yeah.
everything's going
Yeah.
great. And so
Mhm. Yeah, that's incredible. So then tell us a little bit, what does it do? I think a lot of people probably have an idea of what a handyman company does, but give us the 30,000-foot view. Is it just, small repairs? You call a handyman service person when you need something replaced in your home, or like what does it do?
yeah, I call ourselves problem solvers.
Okay.
That's really what we do. So,
That's a good way.
customers don't ever call and say, hey, if I ever have a problem, can you help me? They call and they say, I got a problem.
Mhm. Right.
And most of the problems that we solve are on the smaller side for a couple of reasons. First of all, really hameowners and consumers aren't totally sure what a handyman does.
Mhm.
So when they call, they're kind of asking if we can do
Yeah.
whatever their
Sure.
problem happens to
Mhm.
be. The second reason is because if a homeowner has a smaller project, like maybe they have one window that needs to be fixed or replaced, or
Mhm.
one door, they could call windows and door companies. They're not going to come over. They're not.
Yeah.
They'd rather replace all 42 windows in your house, right?
Right.
They're not going to do the small things.
Yeah.
So we fill a niche in every market with those smaller projects. On the business side of it, it does make it easier for us to find employees because they
Mhm.
don't need to be remodelers. They don't need to be contractors.
Mhm.
They're really the guys who just have always fiddled with stuff their whole life.
Yeah.
And a lot of them have tried to run a business themselves.
Mhm.
They're wildly talented. They just don't have a lot of business education. And so
Yeah.
we can kind of come in and fill that niche for them as well. So
Yeah. And so are you looking for business owners that are they are handymen or handywomen themselves?
actually, the less they know, the better they
The
are.
better? Right.
Yeah, because what happens when somebody, and we tried it this way in the beginning when we were first franchising, it makes sense, right? If you
Mhm.
are a handy person and you go, yeah, I get the business, I'm going to go do this.
Yep.
Two things happen. One is you end up working in the business,
Right.
which means a lot of tasks that are necessary get pushed on the wayside because you
Yeah.
can't do marketing while you're standing in a customer's home fixing
Right.
something. And they limit their growth ability because there's only so many hours in a day they can bill. Whereas if instead you can't do the handiwork, but you can
Mhm.
build a team of great employees that you can motivate around you, and you can spend your time and effort growing the business, working on the business,
Yeah.
you can just keep hiring more and more guys, and the scalability just goes through the roof.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. Most candidates I work with, they still have a certain level of like they desire the comfort of knowing
Yeah.
the business, and like although they have in their head like I know I don't want to be the one doing the business, I want to be working on the business, but I still like in order to do that feel I need to have a certain level of understanding of what I'm doing, of what they are doing, how it all works, like all
Right.
this kind of stuff, and so I get that. But in the same breath, it's almost like I kind of maybe equate it to someone who's trying to lose weight. Like if you have lost a bunch of weight, but then you hang on to your fat genes,
Right.
you're just leaving the door open
That's right.
for that weight to come back. And so it's very similar, I feel like, in this space.
Yeah.
Like if you didn't even have the ability or know how to do this, it's not an option for you to do it. You have to figure out another way to lead people to do this or to run a business. Is that kind of what you're saying?
That's exactly it. And it's another reason why the business model, especially in the beginning years, really focuses very narrowly on what we passionately call the handyman lane, right?
Okay.
Stick
Tell
with
me
the
about
simple
that.
things. Our average job is 4 hours in length.
Okay.
Not that you can't mess up a whole lot of things in 4 hours.
Yeah.
If you do mess it up and you have to give somebody's money back, you're talking usually less than $600. So
Okay.
it's not going to break the bank if something goes wrong.
Yeah.
And then the other thing I think you have to have as a candidate, Jared, who's working with folks like you, looking at concepts, you have to ask yourself, is the franchisor set up to help me if I don't know construction? Like, what does that mean? What have they done on their side of this relationship to make it possible, right?
Yes.
And
What does
so-
it look like? What is it? Are you talking about support and training? Talking about the hiring the right people? Like, what
all
does
of
that look
that.
like?
Yeah, exactly. All of that. So
Yeah.
first and foremost, we've got to train franchise owners to get comfortable with the industry,
Okay.
get comfortable with the kind of tasks that we're going to be asked to do. I always tell people, I mean, when we started, I answered the phone. And I can remember a customer calling and she's like, hey, I need to have my fascia repaired. And I go, one moment, please. And I put her on hold. And I looked at my husband and I go, I think she thinks we're like a spa. She wants a facial. And he goes, no, she said fascia, fascia. I'm like, I don't
That's
even,
good.
he's like on the side of the house. I'm like, oh, okay.
That's
Okay.
great.
So you can help people without knowing what you're talking about. I'm living proof of that. But then when we first started franchising, we were franchising for the construction knowledge person. So what we were doing as a franchisor was supporting on the business side. How do you read a P&L? How do you manage a business wisely? How do you do marketing, right? That kind of stuff. And then what we saw was franchise owners were just stuck in the field, not growing their business. Like, okay, it's not working. So in order to transition to a business model where the franchise owners don't know construction, we have to be that support for them. We have to teach them that. We have to put it in the software. And listen, thank God for AI, right? I mean, in the old days, everything was pencil and paper, and then we moved to computers, and now we've got AI going on.
It's crazy. Yeah.
So it is amazing what kind of answers you can find with just a couple of keystrokes these days. But then more importantly, how do they hire the craftsmen as W-2 employees? Who are they looking for? How do they evaluate their skill set? All of that is what we've put a lot of support and development into for franchise owners so that we can recruit correctly. We use a blue collar recruiting company. Nobody knows the trades better than a blue collar recruiting company. They'll do first wave screening for franchise owners. So they're making sure somebody meets the base requirements on the skill set. And then what you end up hiring for is personality, right? Are they humble? Are they kind? Are they, are they listening? Do you think they're going to be trainable or coachable, right? Just like you would with any other employee.
Yeah. That's so good. Yeah. It's not just, well, you say that like, that's like people do that all the time with hiring, but a lot of people like don't hold so much weight to the character of an individual as probably they should, it's, and so, and has it been hard trying to find good help with this?
What I tell people is tell me an industry where it's not hard to find somebody. It's hard to find. I mean, if you go to the really low skills, like think about making a sandwich, there's so much competition, right? They could make a sandwich, they could make a cup of coffee, they could, I mean, gosh, you're fighting, look at the hiring competitive market, something like that is. It's always been hard. It's never been impossible.
I love that. It goes back to just, again, transparency. Like you're not, BSing me here going, no, we got to figure it out. We don't have any franchisees having issues with hiring, but I like that you're just like, doesn't mean it's impossible.
Right. It's a mindset. It is absolutely, 100%. And when I talk to candidates, if what I hear from them a couple of times during the investigation process is, I'm never going to find guys. I tell them you need to go do something else because you're never going to find guys. If you think you're never going to find them, I can promise you, you're never going to find them.
No, that
you can find them. They are absolutely out there. And what most of our franchise owners will tell candidates when they have a conversation is, it's not easy, but I found them. I'd always like more. everybody would always like more because that's your inventory of what you're selling.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, for sure. How connected is this to ACE Hardware retail locations? Like, do they need to have an ACE in their community in order to open up a handyman services?
They actually
What does that
don't.
look like?
Yeah.
No.
So technically we're a wholly owned subsidiary.
Okay.
So ACE Hardware is an interesting company. It's a co-op.
Yep.
So on the store side, what that means is when somebody buys an ACE Hardware store, they own their own store and all their own profits.
Mm-hmm.
And then at the end of the year, all of the inventory that ACE Corporate has sold to their retailers, they've been making money on that, right?
Yeah.
They buy it from wherever and they sell it to their retailers for a wholesale cost.
Mm-hmm.
So those profits at the end of every year get subdivided by each of the ACE Hardware store owners, and they also get a profit check from that.
Oh, really?
Totally fascinating business idea, pretty unusual.
Yeah.
It means every year at the beginning of January, ACE Corporation starts out with zero, and they build from there. Nobody owns shares in ACE Hardware Corporation except for a hardware store owner, and that includes the CEO, all the C-suite. Nobody owns shares in the company.
Yeah.
It's privately held.
Oh, interesting. Okay. I didn't know that.
ACE Handyman Services is a wholly owned subsidiary of that company. So basically the hardware store owners own us as a franchise concept too, but we are a standalone and very traditional franchise compared to them.
Yeah, and so they're separate though. It's not like do you have many store owners that are also handyman service owners?
We have about 60 right now. So not a huge influx, mostly because service is a very different business than product, right? Retail. You guys know that when you're talking to candidates. Some people have an affinity for retail businesses. Some people have an affinity for service-based businesses. So it is very different, but we do have about 60 retailers. So in any one market, typically an ACE handyman with their protected territories by zip code will have an average of 3 stores in their footprint.
Gotcha.
I've got territories that have no stores because there just aren't any there, or maybe they have 1 store. I have territories that have 9 stores, depending upon, how it all kind of works out. The relationship is on a couple of different levels. Brand name, obviously, is shared. And even though we're ACE Handyman Services and they're ACE Hardware, customers tend to stop with the word ACE.
Yeah, right.
They see it, it's the red one, just like in the hardware. It's
the logo. Yep.
And so we will get calls and people will ask to be transferred to the paint department, right? We're like, nope, we're the handyman.
Yeah. Right.
Hold on, let me get you their telephone number.
Does it work the other vice versa too? Like, are your owners getting lead generation through the ACE Hardware stores?
Yeah. Now, not as much as people think, and here's why. Because once I explain it, people go, "Oh yeah, that makes sense." Yeah. Most of the foot traffic in an ACE Hardware store is a do-it-yourself customer.
Right. Oh, yeah, you got me. The light
They're
bulb went off.
walking in with the widget. They're getting help. They're going home. They're fixing their problem. Now, over time, we know that's changing because the baby boomers, who are the people who basically built America, they no longer are as physically able to work on their home as they used to be.
Sure. Yep.
So they're growing into a consumer market for us. But where we do get a lot of opportunity is, ACE Hardware has a great customer loyalty program called ACE Reward Members.
Yeah.
And they've got about over 50 million of those across the United States. And so when a handyman business opens up, we get the marketing database crazy in those zip codes. So you almost start with a base of ACE Hardware loyal customers that you can market out to. And so we send emails once a month. And then once you develop a relationship as the handyman franchise owner, once you develop a relationship with the hardware store owners who are independently owned and operated, you can get permission to put up point of sale marketing materials inside of the store. So end caps, aisle interrupters, brochure stands, cash register mats, right? We've got all those things developed for people.
Yeah.
So
Oh, wow. That's great. So then tell us about the cost.
Yeah.
What can they expect, at least for a single unit or single territory? What's the cost looking like?
Yeah. And everybody starts usually with 1. That's my recommendation. Let's get the business set up. Let's make sure you love it. Let's get it generating revenues and then use that money to invest in the next one. Yeah. That's really the best way in our business model. Yeah. So our item 7 this year in the FDD is going to be a range of between $131,937 and $223,000. The high end is if you buy an extra big territory. So
Okay.
most of our territories are 70,000 households,
All right.
and our franchise fee is $70,000.
Okay.
That range of 131 to 223 includes that 70,000. So really outside of the
Sure.
70,000, you're looking at another 60,000 for operating capital
Yeah.
to get up running first 3 months, out of the
Yeah.
gate, that kind of
Yeah.
stuff.
Usually start with one van.
Yeah, we don't have to buy a van in the beginning. We're really protective about operating capital.
Mhm.
We try, and I tell people all the time, it goes back to our basement days. We
Yeah.
didn't have money, and so we figured out how to make do. And so our ratio of trucks to craftsmen, we want you to have 3 full-time craftsmen
Mhm.
before you invest in one company truck,
Okay.
because we can use the guys' vehicles. They all have vehicles. They've
Great.
been getting from job to job already, so that's not
Yeah.
unusual. The
Yeah.
business model has a way to reimburse them for the use of their vehicle because that's
Okay.
the right thing to
Sure.
do. But you can put vinyl on the side of them. They look just like a company truck. They don't cost you,
Yeah.
kind of stuff.
Well, yeah, if you put the ACE logo on anything, it's going to be
Everything's fine.
people. Yeah, the instant trust is going to be there. So
Exactly. Yeah.
yeah.
So most franchise owners start with 2 to 3 craftsmen to begin
Okay.
with.
Mhm.
Then we'd like to really end year 2 right around the six craftsman mark. And from there, it's just a matter of how fast people want to grow. So,
Yeah, sure, it makes sense. So then, you've had such incredible growth this last 4 to 5 years, right?
yeah.
And you have so many more owners than when you first started. But even like from when you first started, can you share with us any success stories
Mhm.
of some franchisees that once were where our audience currently is, of they're curious, they're interested, they're looking for the right franchise for their future, because of whatever it might be, right? They want to pursue that American dream. They want to own their own calendar. They want to be able to control their own schedule. They want to work hard for themselves and not someone else, and all these kinds of things. Do you have any like success stories of your current owners that come to mind for you?
Yeah, lots of amazing people in our system.
Yeah.
Culture is really important to us,
Yeah.
and so we focus on bringing in the right folks.
Mhm.
I have a lovely husband-wife couple that are in Philadelphia,
Okay.
and really cool story because it makes a generational story. So
Yes.
way back in 2004,
Okay.
Aaron's father, Bob, who was coming out of corporate, same thing, right? Bad
Yep.
taste in his mouth, went
Yep.
through a bunch of layoffs in 2004,
Uh,
didn't want to get back on the rat race,
mhm.
decided that he really loved home improvement. He wasn't
Yep.
doing it himself, but he loved it.
Okay.
Got into this business and had an idea because his daughter was going to college for marketing.
Okay.
So he's like, oh, this is going to be awesome. I'm going to buy this business. My daughter's going to graduate. She's going to work with me.
Yeah.
So he buys the business, gets it all up and running the first couple of years. Aaron graduates from college and he's like, oh, this will be great. And she's like, no.
She didn't do it. Oh
No,
man.
I'm going to go do something else. And he's like, okay, that's fine. So he keeps working. About 2 years
Yeah.
later, she calls
Okay.
him and she goes, okay, I'm ready for this. And he goes,
Ah.
great. So she joins the business and
Okay.
gets trained and becomes an active owner in the business. And he starts reducing his time. At the 10-year mark, which would have been 2014,
Okay.
he goes
So
through
still handyman matters at this point.
Yep. Still
Okay.
Handyman Matters. He goes through a renewal at the 10-year mark and
Okay.
transfers the business to his daughter fully. So he
Wow.
kind of backs out of the business and Aaron.
No way. Yeah.
And probably, gosh, it couldn't have been that long after that. She hired a craftsman,
Okay.
fell in love with him. They got married.
No way.
Oh, yeah. Had a little one. So she's got a little boy. They
Wow.
bought a second territory she owned Harrisburg, and then they bought Lancaster so that they could kind of have a little bit of a
Yeah.
big business. And they just signed for their third 10-year franchise agreement. So starting their 21st year in business.
Oh my goodness. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Man, handymen really do matter. Look at that.
Yeah. It's so crazy, right? To have your whole life changed by something.
Did you get invited to the wedding?
Well, I think we did, but
That's awesome.
But yeah,
My goodness. Did they name either one of their kids Ace?
no,
Like,
none of those. But and then we've got
incredible.
a really powerful younger guys.
Yeah.
Who think, I'm talking 30, maybe 31, just now
Okay.
getting married, right there at that stage of their life.
Yep.
2 business partners, friends. They had done a couple fix and flips together.
Okay.
Found them. They worked well together. They were pretty successful. Ended up with a little bit of money.
Yeah.
They were like, well, what do we want to do next? Right? Are we going to keep working hard and fix and flips, or is there something else?
Yeah.
Heard about ACE Handyman Services, joined us in Raleigh, North Carolina, ended up buying one territory. Fast forward 3 years, they're now up to 5 territories.
Yep.
They're going to have their 1,000th 5-star Google review anytime now. We're kind of waiting for the press release, but that'll
Wow. Holy smokes.
So just really cool, aggressive. They both came out of college and said, I don't want to do the traditional, not my thing, let's see what we can do. So both of them are actually getting married this year. So.
Good for them. Just crushing it. My goodness.
Yeah.
And in their 30s too. Like, it's not like, of course I work with a lot of candidates who are in their 50s or in their 60s looking for that toward the end of career or that transition or that retirement option kind of thing. And I think a lot of people think that that's who these kinds of concepts are for, that ACE Handyman is, but this is, multi-generational. You got people in their 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, all across the board stepping into business ownership here. And so incredible. But, at the end of the day, it still comes down to finances, right? Like, if people could buy on hope, they would. If they could build a business off of that, they would. But that's not how it works, right? And so can you tell us a little bit about what kind of financial success looks like, or what maybe your item 19 and your FDD kind of communicates?
Yeah, so we've got lots of details in the item 19. Again, really have, as you kind of hit on it already, a transparency with numbers. Really want people to get into a business model that's going to be the right one for them and with the right expectations, right? I tell people all the time, when you find the tree that you can plant in your backyard and just give it a little bit of sunshine and water and it sprouts out $100 bills, let me know, because I've been looking for the money tree for a lot of years now.
Yeah, right.
But what we have is 8 tables in our item 19. And we do that because we break out our franchise owners between single territories and multi-territories. We've kind of talked about, most people start with 1, but then usually within year 2 to 3, if not sooner, they end up growing into multi-territory.
Awesome.
But we want to show financial expectations that are separated from that. So just focusing on single operators in the top quartile, I've got people that are doing over $1 million. Our average is over 700,000. And in terms of the bottom line, and again, we're taking just reported P&Ls from franchise owners. Can't validate anything. But we're averaging about a 14% owner benefit on the bottom of those numbers. So
wow. My goodness. The average is over 700,000. That's incredible. So a lot of opportunity here by helping people in their homes.
That's right. Well, and I would emphasize the helping, Jared. You're right. What really works for us is people who want to make a difference in their community. Handyman is very local, right? It's that's the reason why we don't have a call center. It's no matter, and we've tried it in the past, but no matter where you have a call center, it doesn't sound like where most of your customers are from. And people want a local company to help them with their house. And they're already skeptical, right? I think we're right up there with cute used car dealers. So we got to build a lot of trust and let them know.
That's fair.
We're local. We're here. We're going to help you. We're going to take care of you. But it's really all about giving back to your community. And we really encourage our franchise owners to donate 4 hours of labor a quarter to somebody in their community who maybe can't afford a handyman. Whether that's disabled veterans or the elderly, domestic shelters, churches and synagogues, food banks. We do a lot of volunteer projects around and so it's really important to have a good, solid business that you can make a profit on, you and your family, that you can also give back to your community and make other people's lives better.
Yeah, that's so good. And, I love that you're emphasizing that so much, because I don't feel like that's something I hear a ton from every handyman service and franchising. But with that too, if there is someone sitting here listening either now or even at a later date, they're watching this and they're kind of going, I'm curious, but I'm kind of on the fence, not sure if this is the right one, because I'm also looking at these other, 10 options in this space. What would you say to them as to why they should maybe consider ACE Handyman over a number of your other competitors?
There's a lot of great handyman companies out there, right? This has always been an industry that has had a lot of choices, which is great because competition makes everybody better, right? My husband says steel sharpens steel, which is exactly what you want. We're different in a couple of different ways. One is the brand name, hard to beat, very recognized.
Absolutely.
Very, just kind of stands out in the industry. But the other way that we're very different is that we're still founder led. we've got 27 years worth of dumb ideas, right? 27 years worth of big mistakes,
Yeah.
things that didn't make us money, things
Yeah.
we wish in hindsight we would have done differently.
Mhm.
And that's really valuable. That tribal knowledge.
Absolutely. You believe deeply in this so much that you're not just gonna sell it and then you're out. You
Right.
hold it and you're like, let us keep running it. Let us keep leading this. I love
This is
that.
our family, right? We've
Yeah.
spent 27 years building this really large, enormous family. And we have an obligation to our franchise owners to make sure we're doing what we're supposed to be doing:
Yeah.
research, development, looking out, monitoring the economy, watching for things that are going to make an impact to us and the
Mhm.
business, and helping people figure out how to adjust to that so they can focus on running today.
Yeah.
All they need to worry about is, what does the business look like today? And
Yeah.
know that we are wondering, what is the business going to look like in the next 1, 3, 5, 10 years for them.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, that's so good. Colette, we're really up against that time. I can't appreciate you enough. Thank you so much for joining and being a part of this and sharing about ACE Handyman Services and just your time on this as well. It's exciting to hear about all the growth that you have experienced as a company and the story of the last couple of decades of how it came to be, and just incredible. So thank you so much. Friends, if you're watching this and whether you're live right now, or you're watching this at a later date too, and you're like, I want to learn more. I want to see if this is the right fit for me. I want to see if my territory is available. All you have to do is right now in the chat, right now in the comments, type ACE down below, and we'll begin that conversation with you. It's not saying I am for sure going with ACE Handyman. It's just saying, it's raising my hand going, tell me more, send me more info. Let me see if my territory is available. Let me see if I do qualify for this. And we will begin that conversation with you. Type ACE down below and we can get that going. But man, until then, Colette, again, thank you so much for sharing and doing this. I'm excited to work with you and to send you only the best individuals for your network, for your franchise as well. Because you even mentioned like culture is so key to this, and so we want to make sure we continue to send you the best people for that continued culture as well. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Jared. And if people, do a little bit more investigation with you guys and decide maybe ACE or Handyman aren't the right direction, I
Mhm.
just encourage people to pursue business ownership.
Yeah.
Franchising has got a lot of different options. You guys represent a lot of different concepts out there. There's a fit for somebody everywhere. It's just a matter of figuring out where that's at.
Yeah, exactly. I could not have said it any better. So thank you so much, Colette. And with that, I'll leave it at that. Friends, we will see you next week with another guest. But until then, this is Jared and Colette. We'll see you guys later. Have a good one.